Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sound Archives. My name is Christian Maiorino, and I am the host of this channel. So, today's episode is going to be a concert review series, and despite the LPs that you see behind me right here from Judas Priest, those are up because I just did a video ranting about the recent announcement with Priest being a four-piece. So anyway, you can go check out that video as well. But anyway, today's video is actually, like I just said, concert series. But I'm not reviewing a recent concert that I attended. I'm actually going to talk about the very first concert that I ever saw. Very first band that I ever went to see live, if you will. And who might that be? Who might that be? These guys right here. GWAR. And I pulled out this CD right here, this Toilet Earth, because this was the tour that I saw them on. This album came out in 1994, and the date of the show, it was December 19th, 1994. I had to look that up before I did this video because obviously I didn't remember the exact date. And sadly, I don't have a ticket stub from that show. And it was actually kind of a 14th birthday present, if you will, for me. So anyway, excuse me, I need to take a sip here if you don't mind. I'm drinking another gin and tonic. So hopefully you're maybe having a drink too while you're watching this. And if you are, cheers. So anyway, getting back to the band here. So I had first heard of GWAR. I think the first time I heard of who they were was an episode of Beavis and Butthead where they had one of the videos on. And I believe it was the video for The Road Behind. And I remember, like, in the video they were like, GWAR, yeah! But it's kind of more like a power ballad type song. But anyway, I think the next time I had heard of them, there was an episode of Headbangers Ball where they played the video for Saddam Go-Go. And I remember, thinking that, wow, that's really cool. These guys have, horns and saxophones in a heavy metal song. They're wearing all these crazy costumes and everything. This is sick. So, of course, I went out. And then, of course, bought this album right here, this Toilet Earth. And then I remember, hearing that they were going to be playing at Toad's Place. So I'm like, man, I got to go to that show. So I went to the show. Of course, I didn't go there by myself. My stepfather gave me a ride to the show, and I went with one other friend. And just going there, just being there, I was totally excited for the whole experience. At the time, and I remember going to a couple other shows at Toad's back in the 90s when they had, the metal shows going on there. They'd always play music videos on these projector screens, before the bands went on and in between bands. And, the one video I remembered seeing was the music video for Territory by Sepultura. And I remember just holy shit, being blown away by that. And that's how I discovered Sepultura. So that could be a whole thing. Whole other episode right there. So anyway, going back to the GWAR show. So I only remember going back and look at the tour. It looks like they had a couple bands opening up. But the only band I remember opening at this show was a band called Bile. That's spelled B-I-L-E. Bile. And from what I remember, they kind of had, I don't know, there's a bunch of people on stage, and they were wearing these kind of strange costumes. Their sound was a kind of industrial metal sound, and I remember they were playing this song called "You're a Loser," or "You're a Fucking Loser." And the song goes "You're a fucking loser." It was fucking awful. The crowd was booing them. I don't remember them doing a long set. I don't know if that's because they just got booed off the stage or they were supposed to do a short set. But anyway, regardless, no one there Liked them. I didn't like them, except for my friend that came with me. He thought they were awesome. He bought the T-shirt, and he used to wear that all the time, like, eighth grade, and I think even on into ninth grade. He bought their CD. He used to play it all the time, and me and the rest of our friends would break his balls. We're like, man, those guys suck. But he whatever. We all hear things differently. All our taste in music is subjective. But when you're 14 years old and you know group of friends just doesn't like a band or something that your buddy's listening to, of course you're going to break that guy's balls mercilessly. But it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, when GWAR finally hit the stage, I just remember just being in total awe. This being the first concert that I had ever seen, I was just in awe of the fact that I was standing in the same room as, I don't want to say my heroes, but this band that I'd seen on TV. I had their CD, and now like here I am in person. They're over there on stage. I'm over here. That thought alone blew my mind away. Of course, since then, been to dozens of concerts. Like I don't think like, oh wow, I'm standing in the same room as this guy. But when you're 14, it's like your first concert. That I don't know, that just really resonated with me, I guess, back then. But just seeing Odorous Urungus come out with his Cuttlefish of Cthulhu there, Beefcake the Mighty with the giant fucking Roman helmet and his bass and everything, and Ballsack, the Jaws of Death with his jaw head there. These guys coming out, Sly Menstra coming out doing Dancing to the Fire and that sort of thing. It was fucking amazing. And seeing shooting the blood and everything in the crowd, awesome. The decapitations, just everything. Their whole stage show, their whole presence. It was just mind blowing to see. I mean, what better concert for a 14-year-old boy, teenager to see back in 1994 other than GWAR. There were no other bands out there at that time putting on the type of show that they did. I mean, by that time, a lot of metal bands, they weren't dressing up on stage or putting on these, pyrotechnic type shows like bands in the 80s were doing, or, other hard rock or grunge bands that were going on at the time. Like, they weren't putting anything like that into any type of stage show, but GWAR was the exception. And they were doing way over the top than I think what most other bands were doing, in the 80s, whatever, what any other bands have really done since. I think their stage show is definitely the most over the top that I've seen. Not just that one time I saw, because I've seen about 3 or 4 other times since that first show. But definitely the most over the top, insane thing that I'd seen. So anyway, like I said, it was in '94. They were touring for this album right here. I was trying to find the exact set list for the show, but I couldn't find it. Though I did find the average set list for the show, or for that particular tour for This Toilet Earth, which is, I've written it down as follows. So, Saddam Agogo is the opener. Vlad the Impaler, Cracking the Egg. Let me turn the page here. Americanized, AEIOU, Penis I See, I'm in Love with the Dead Dog, Have You Seen Me, SFW, which I think was on a movie soundtrack or something. I forget which one at the moment. Of course, I'll remember probably after I stop recording. But anyway, Solemnizer, Jack the World, Ham of the Bone, Horror of Yig, Sonder Commando, Issue of Tissue, Black and Huge, Maggots, Private Pain and Techno Destructo, You Ain't Shit, War Theme, and Slaughterama. So obviously a lot of songs from the This Toilet Earth album, but then also a lot of other stuff from the previous albums before that. So I pulled it from, it was a website called setlist.fm. So I don't know how accurate that is to the show I saw, but I do remember they did open with Saddam Agogo, and I do remember hearing Jack the World. But those are the only songs that I can really remember, because at the time, like I said, this was the only CD I had of GWAR at the time. So the only songs I was really kind of familiar with. I wasn't really, aside from The Road Behind, because I had seen the video for that. But honestly, they didn't play that at this show. Another thing. So at this show, me and my friend, like we weren't like up like in front center stage getting um, sprayed on with all the blood and all the paint and all that shit. We were kind of just like sitting off to the side. I don't know why. Maybe we were still young kids, and most of the people there were like a little bit older and moshing, so maybe we felt a little intimidated. I honestly don't know because I definitely had gotten sprayed at other GWAR shows, but not at this one. But I just like remember my friend, he was wearing glasses and he got like one little like drop of blood on his glasses, and he's like so excited. He's like, "Oh man, I got a drop of blood on my glasses." But anyway, the lame thing about the show though is that I didn't get to stay for the whole concert. Probably less than halfway through their set. It being a school night and me being in 8th grade, my stepdad's like, "Nope, we got to get going. It's too late now." It's like, oh man, no way, this sucks. Like, you want to stay for the whole show. But didn't end up happening, so had to leave early. Really upset about it to this day. Well, not that upset about it because, of course I'd seen GWAR other times since then, but at the time I was just like so devastated that I didn't get to stay there for the whole set. I think right when I was leaving, they were they had the maggot by the drum riser or whatever, and they were feeding bitches to the maggot, or they were just about to start to feed some bitches to the maggot, and didn't get to see it. So anyway, so as I was saying, or as I alluded to earlier, I didn't have the stub from that show, but I've seen GWAR about 3 or 4 times since then. I think I saw them on the Ragnarok tour. I know I saw them on the Carnival of Chaos tour because I have the ticket stub from that show right here, which Slimenstra herself signed, as you can see. That show, that was at the Webster Theater in Hartford, Connecticut on October 25th, 1997. I think I saw them at the Webster at least one other time, and I'd seen them at Toad's Place. I think the last time, I want to say it was maybe 2008 or 2009. That was the last time I'd seen GWAR live. I haven't seen them since then. I know they're still together. I'll be honest, I don't have too many of their newer albums. Kind of fell off that train a little bit, but that could be another subject for another show. Anyway, one of the unique things about GWAR, I always felt they kind of had their own unique sound in a way. I mean, of course they're known for their stage show, but without the music there, the stage show is nothing. There's of course there's a silliness to the lyrics, a perverseness to the lyrics. Dave Brockie, or also known as Odorous Urungus, he had a unique voice, I thought, and may he rest in peace. I mean, his loss is still felt in the metal world, I think. But of course, there are songs that Beefcake sang on, or whoever was playing the Beefcake, the mighty role at the moment, or the Sexecutioner, or I know he sang a couple of songs, and there was Sleazy P. Martini, their manager. He did a couple of songs, which, other than Slaughterama, I don't think any other songs he sang were that good. They were kind of annoying. And then another thing that I always thought was kind of unique is they always seem to kind of develop their own vocabulary. Like they always refer to people or whatever as bohabs. I remember hearing that they had on a few of their songs on some of those older albums, and no idea what the hell that meant, but I guess that's just like a word that they made up for their fan. A GWAR fan is a bohab or something like that. So anyway, your first concert experience is always going to leave a deep and lasting impression on you. Mine certainly did. So what I want you to do is, if you're watching this video, you like it, give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments below. Let me know what your first concert experience was. And if you're not already subscribing to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. I will be posting more videos. Next week I'm going to be doing it'll be a review of either a concert movie or concert video or a music documentary. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. I have a couple ideas, but find out next week. And until then, this is the Sound Archive sounding off.